Imagine creating inventions that power almost every modern city on Earth. Then imagine dying alone, nearly forgotten, while others received the credit. He dreamed of wireless electricity, robots, artificial intelligence, global communication, even decades before the world was ready. Some called him a genius. Others called him insane. But one thing is certain. Without Nikola Tesla, the modern world would look completely different. This is the extraordinary story of the man who invented tomorrow. On the night of July 10, 1856, a violent thunderstorm swept across the tiny village of Smiljan, located in what is now Croatia. As lightning illuminated the sky, a child was born. According to local legend, the midwife looked outside and declared, "This child will be a child of darkness." But Tesla's mother smiled and replied, "No. He will be a child of light." Whether the story is entirely true or not, it perfectly captures the life Nikola Tesla would eventually live. Born into a Serbian family, Tesla grew up surrounded by nature, curiosity, and imagination. His father hoped he would become a priest. But Tesla's mind belonged somewhere else. Machines fascinated him. He possessed an extraordinary photographic memory. He could visualize entire inventions inside his mind, testing every moving part, without building a single prototype. Even as a child, he imagined impossible machines, ideas that seemed closer to science fiction than reality. Tesla wasn't simply intelligent. He experienced the world differently. He could memorize entire books after reading them once. Complex mathematical equations appeared inside his imagination. He often claimed he could construct complete machines mentally, operate them, improve them, and only then build the final version. Many engineers relied on endless prototypes. Tesla rarely needed one. His imagination became his laboratory. Yet this extraordinary gift came with a price. He suffered vivid flashes of light, overwhelming sensory experiences, and obsessive habits. Modern historians believe these traits may have reflected neurological differences. But in Tesla's era, no one understood them. People only knew one thing. Nikola Tesla's mind was unlike any they had ever seen. Europe could no longer contain Tesla's ambitions. By the early 1880s, electricity was becoming the next great revolution. Factories, cities, entire nations would soon depend on it. Tesla believed he could reshape that future. In 1884, with little money, few possessions, and enormous dreams, he boarded a ship bound for New York City. He carried little more than a recommendation letter addressed to one man, Thomas Edison, the world's most famous inventor. The letter reportedly read, "I know two great men. One is you. The other is this young man." Tesla believed he had found his opportunity. Instead, he was about to enter one of history's greatest rivalries. Thomas Edison had already become one of America's greatest celebrities. His direct current electrical systems were spreading across cities. But they had one enormous problem. Direct current could only travel short distances. It required countless power stations. Tesla immediately recognized a better solution: alternating current. A system capable of transmitting electricity across vast distances with far greater efficiency. But Edison refused to believe Tesla's vision. The two inventors clashed. One valued relentless experimentation. The other relied on mathematical perfection. Their conflict would soon become legendary. History would remember it as the War of Currents. Two brilliant minds. One revolutionary idea. And a battle that would decide how the entire world would be powered. In Part 2, the War of Currents begins. In the spring of 1884, 28-year-old Nikola Tesla arrived in America. His possessions were few. A suitcase. A handful of clothes. Some engineering calculations. And a letter of recommendation addressed to the most famous inventor in the United States. Thomas Edison. The letter reportedly read, "I know two great men. One is you. The other is this young man." Tesla believed America was the place where bold ideas could become reality. He had no idea he was about to step into one of history's greatest technological rivalries. Thomas Edison was already a legend. Newspapers celebrated him as the Wizard of Menlo Park. His inventions had transformed industries. His electrical systems were spreading through American cities. Tesla admired him. Almost immediately, he began working long days solving complex engineering problems for Edison's company. Edison quickly realized that his young employee possessed remarkable talent. According to a famous story, Edison promised Tesla $50,000 if he could redesign and improve the company's inefficient electrical generators. Tesla worked tirelessly. Day after day. Night after night. Eventually, he completed the task. But when he asked about the promised reward, Edison reportedly laughed and said, "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor." Historians continue to debate the exact details of this exchange, but it is well documented that Tesla felt deeply undervalued and resigned soon afterward. The partnership had lasted only a few months. The rivalry would last forever. After leaving Edison, Tesla's future collapsed almost overnight. Investors abandoned him. Money disappeared. To survive, one of the greatest engineering minds in history dug ditches for a living. Day after day, he shoveled earth beneath the very city he had dreamed of electrifying. Friends later recalled that Tesla considered this the lowest point of his life. But sometimes, history changes direction when hope seems completely lost. Then, everything changed. Tesla met entrepreneur and engineer George Westinghouse. Unlike Edison, Westinghouse immediately understood the brilliance of Tesla's alternating current system. He purchased Tesla's patents and offered him the opportunity he had always dreamed of. Together, they would challenge the most powerful inventor in America. At first glance, electricity is invisible. But beneath every power line, a battle was unfolding. Edison promoted direct current, or DC. In a DC system, electricity flows continuously in one direction. It worked well over short distances. But power stations had to be built every few city blocks because much of the energy was lost over longer distances. Tesla's alternating current, or AC, worked differently. Instead of flowing in only one direction, it changed direction many times every second. That made it possible to use transformers to increase voltage for long-distance transmission and reduce it again for safe use in homes and businesses. The result was a system that could deliver electricity across cities, and eventually across countries, far more efficiently. It wasn't simply a scientific disagreement. It was a battle over the future of civilization. Whoever won would determine how the modern world would be powered. Edison was determined to stop alternating current. His company and supporters launched a public campaign arguing that AC was too dangerous for everyday use. Public demonstrations were held in which animals were electrocuted using alternating current to emphasize its risks. These events became some of the most controversial moments in the history of electricity. Around the same time, alternating current was also used in the development of the first electric chair, reinforcing public fears, even though the broader debate involved business competition as much as engineering. Tesla, however, believed facts would ultimately speak louder than fear. He trusted that science, not spectacle, would decide the future. The battle lines had been drawn. One man had wealth, fame, and influence. The other had only an idea. But that idea was about to light an entire city and prove to the world that the future belonged to alternating current. In the next chapter, Nikola Tesla would achieve the impossible. The lights of Chicago would shine. Niagara Falls would surrender its power. and history would never be the same. In 1893, the world gathered in Chicago for the World's Columbian Exposition. It was meant to celebrate human achievement. But it became something even greater. It became the moment the future arrived. More than 100,000 electric lights illuminated the fairgrounds using Tesla's alternating current system, supplied by George Westinghouse Company. Visitors who had never seen widespread electric lighting stood in awe. Streets glowed. Buildings shimmered. Night turned into day. In that single moment, the war of currents was effectively decided. Alternating current wasn't just an idea anymore. It had become reality. If Chicago proved alternating current could light a city, the next challenge would prove it could power the world. At Niagara Falls Hydroelectric Project, engineers attempted something no one had accomplished before. They would transform the immense force of one of Earth's greatest waterfalls into electrical energy. Many believed the project was impossible. Tesla did not. His alternating current generators succeeded where others had failed. In 1895, electricity generated at Niagara began flowing to nearby cities. Soon, power reached Buffalo, New York, miles away. It was a triumph of engineering and a blueprint for the electrical grids that power our world today. Tesla's vision had become infrastructure. Success never slowed Tesla's imagination. He unveiled the Tesla coil, capable of producing spectacular high-voltage electrical discharges. He demonstrated a radio-controlled boat years before remote control became commonplace. He envisioned wireless communication across continents. He imagined handheld devices that could instantly exchange information across the globe. He spoke of machines that could operate without human intervention. Many of these ideas sounded impossible in the early 20th century. Today, they feel surprisingly familiar. Tesla's greatest dream was also his most ambitious. On Long Island, he began building Wardenclyffe Tower. It was intended to transmit information, and perhaps even electrical power, without wires over long distances. Wealthy financier J.P. Morgan initially backed the project. But when costs grew and commercial returns became uncertain, funding stopped. Construction stalled. The tower was never completed as Tesla had hoped. Years later, it was demolished. Whether his vision of worldwide wireless power could have worked remains debated. But there is little doubt that Tesla's ambitions reached far beyond the technology of his era. As the decades passed, the world moved forward. New inventors became famous. Industries changed. Tesla grew older. He lived in hotels. He continued writing, imagining, and designing. He found comfort feeding pigeons in New York City, often describing one white pigeon as especially meaningful to him. On January 7, 1943, Nikola Tesla died alone in his hotel room at the age of 86. He left behind hundreds of patents, bold ideas, and an enduring influence on science and engineering. Recognition would grow even greater after his death. Today, every electrical grid carrying alternating current, every factory powered across long distances, every home illuminated after sunset, carries part of Tesla's legacy. His ideas helped shape the modern world. Yet his greatest lesson may have nothing to do with electricity. Nikola Tesla reminds us that truly transformative ideas are often misunderstood at first. Visionaries rarely fit comfortably into their own time. They imagine futures others cannot yet see. And sometimes, they pay a heavy price for thinking differently. But history has a way of remembering those who change it. Tesla once said, "The present is theirs, the future, for which I really worked, is mine." Looking around the world today, it is difficult to argue with him. Nikola Tesla never stopped believing that knowledge should serve humanity. More than a century later, his vision continues to power our lives. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of one of history's greatest inventors, subscribe to Legendary Inventors. Because behind every invention, there is a story worth remembering. And we'll bring you the next one.